completely community driven. We could not do these events without our speakers and without you guys. So really appreciate every one of you showing up. Jose, we appreciate you taking the time to come out and speak to our audience. Caleb drove 8 hours to be here with us, guys. We're not paying him a single dollar. He's coming out here to give value, and in return, we want to make sure we give him a lot of value and hopefully give him a lot of business. Real quick, we want to give a quick shout out to Candy and Community National Title. They give us this space to host this event, so please bring your business here. They can do creative transactions, and I think Caleb is going to speak about being able to do creative transactions as well. Anything else, Matt?
No, for those that have been here before, I kind of say the same thing every month, but it's obviously a gorgeous Saturday. You could have spent this day elsewhere with your family, friends, whatever, but you chose to be here. So with that,
No.
right. Right. With that being said, if you take your time out of your day to come here, please learn something, take notes, but most importantly, go back and apply it to your business, right? I'd hate for you guys to come and waste time and then you go back next week and don't learn anything and don't implement anything that has been shared with you today. As Chris alluded to earlier and in the past, this is all free to you all, right? Community National Title has allowed us to utilize your space in order for us to give back to the community because as you know, Chris and Jazz and I were coming up, we didn't have anything like this. It was all a pitch fest, right? You have to pay money for people to share insight to how to be successful. So we wanted to come together and cultivate an environment for you all to come and learn from these two individuals that have also taken time out of their day to put something together. So I'm kind of off my soapbox. I appreciate everyone for coming. Again, go home, implement, ask questions. Our DMs are always open. Feel free to ask us questions. I'm sure Caleb will answer any questions that you may have in addition to Jose. So, Josh.
Who has not done their first wholesale deal yet? 1, 2. Can you count Chris real quick?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Keep them up.
6, 7,
High.
8. We're gonna say 11.
Like 11 people. Okay. So these meetups, they actually help out a lot with closing your first deal. I'll tell you why. Because we have access to a lot of people that got access to a lot of shit. And I mean a lot. This guy right here, Chris, very fucking good at discoing deals. Like he's been every week, he's on Instagram, Facebook Live, sharing a deal of the week. Every week. There's 4 weeks in a month. So like nobody laughed at my joke. All right, cool. All right, no, but seriously, this guy Chris has been closing deals like crazy, and all he's doing right now is just JVing with people. So if you have a deal, if you got a lead or something like that, and you don't know what to do with it, hit up Chris. Diego, he's a novation king. That's all he does. Chris had to make a post and say, please don't tag Diego, but I need someone who does novation deals. I know he know how to do it, but this guy, he does novations. Zach, he's good with closing leads, but as far as doing like creative stuff. I'm good at creative stuff. We got the creative TC back here. You guys, we got access to like everything that we needed here. All you got to do is do the work. Bring us, I'm not going to try to pitch anything. I'm not pitching anything. Bring us your deals. When I say us, I'm talking about us as a family. Bring us your deals. Let us help you out. This is how we help each other. Everybody on the outside looking in, they're looking at each other as competition. We look at each other as family. We're all here to help each other. And our goal is to help these people that's trying to sell their properties. We got a product that we got to sell. You know what I'm saying? I talked to someone in here. She's in here. She literally just got on the phone with me like 2 weeks ago and just got her first deal under contract, and she has a buyer right now. It's fucking crazy. Savannah, here we go. So my whole point is, guys, we got to squad up with each other. Some way we're going to get deals done together. This market is about to get heated. It's about to get heated. So it's time for us to do our jobs. Like we got roles to play. Let's have fun.
It's already heated.
It's already
It really is. Like,
so let's have fun. Those 11 people that rose y'all's hands, connect with everybody in here. Every single person in here. There's like maybe 40, 50 of us in here. You should have everybody's phone numbers by the end of the day. Maybe we'll have one meetup where we're just doing speed dating or speed networking. You got 10 seconds. Explain who you are, what you do, and what you need help with. Go to the next person. Keep going. Keep your phones, like, Somebody told me a long time ago, I can't remember exactly how he said it, but he asked me, how much is your phone worth? And I'm like, well, I spent like $800 on my phone. He busts out laughing. He's like, well, mine probably worth like $2 billion. Bro, we got the same iPhone. Just the amount of contacts that he had in his phone, the access that he had in his phone. And that was just like, wow. It was like, it kind of opened me up like, damn, I need more people on my phone. You know what I mean? So my goal for you guys, for those 11 people that raise y'all's hands, the ones that have not raised their hands, we have to go out to them and help them close their first deal. That's what we're here for. That's what doing DFW deals is about. So I can talk all day, but I'm not going to do that because we got a limited amount of time. Christopher came out here from Kansas City, 8-hour drive. He's at my place. We're about to have fun. At the meetup, that's what I mean. We're about to have fun. All right. I just want to warm y'all up. But hey, y'all, give it a round of applause for y'all selves for being out here.
And if you are one of those 11 that haven't done a deal because your deal won't cash flow, you're trying to get your long-term rent to work with your mortgage statement, whatever it is, pay attention to this. Hopefully this brightens you up a little bit. It opens your eyes because there's other exit strategies just apart from long-term rental, Airbnb. There's, Section 8. There's co-living. So I'll talk a little bit about that.
I love it. Thank you,
Is
Jose.
there a question already?
Yeah, I've got a question. So
Okay.
before they get out to the exit strategy, they got to enter into the deal first.
Of
So
course.
they're going to need to talk to someone who's got money, other than the lender. So come introduce yourself to me.
Yeah, I love it.
And Greg TC is in the back of the room, so we'll work together and we'll help you as 11.
Of course.
That's exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly what this, and I was actually just thinking that the other day, Jeff. I was just in a moment of being grateful because I hear so many stories about people from this event who came to this event. They found a lender, they found a buyer, they found someone to help them lock it up. So really, truly appreciate you guys having that go-giver and abundance mindset. But today's layout is we're going to have Jose speak. He's going to go for about 45 minutes. Feel free to jump in and ask questions. We want to make sure that you guys get a lot of value today. Make sure you're writing a ton of notes. We're going to take a quick break after that, and then we're going to go to Caleb Christopher. Again, make sure you have your notepad out. There's going to be a lot of gems. We have Jimmy John's. We have water in the back if you need it. We did have an attendance sheet. Please make sure you fill that out. We're going to email that out to you guys because, again, we want you guys to be connecting and doing deals together. Tony's going to be taking video for us today. Tony does all of our photography and videography at these events. He does it completely free. Please reach out to Tony if you need any real estate photos or other events. Tony can either help you out or point you in the right direction. But Tony, we appreciate you being out here. The floor is yours, Jose. So
Perfect.
Feel free to take it from here. And if you need anything from us, let us know.
Appreciate it.
If you're in the back, you want to have a seat, there's plenty of seats. there.
Right.
There's 2 seats over
Can I
here.
get a
There's
chair
3
and
seats
put
here.
right
You'll be
in
pretty
here?
close to me.
What do you-
but-
And there's a couple seats here.
Several seats.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take a seat. We got plenty of room.
So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jose. I'm local here at DFW. I live in Dallas. I'm an investor. I'm an active co-living host with Padsplit. I have a renovation company where I can help you do anything from fix and flips. If you have a long-term rental, you need a small little cosmetic, flooring painting done. We do that. And in the past month, I've been doing a lot of co-living renovations. And then I also have a property management. I don't have a PowerPoint. Padsplit just sent me this so I could use. I wanted to make this a little bit more conversational. I'm actually going to go into my Padsplit platform. I'm going to show you my real numbers. I'm going to show you my real occupancy. I'm going to show you the homes that I own, the house that I property manage, and all my tenants. So we'll get started a little bit. So who doesn't know before I start, or who hasn't heard about co-living or renting by the room? Has anybody not heard of this strategy? All right, at least one. All right, we only need one. So it's very simple. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's you're renting a room within a home. What that means is you have once you rent a room within Padsplit, you become a member. Let's say that home has 5 bedrooms, you are 1 member in the home with other 4 guests. You might not know those guests. If you're a male, it might be a female. If you're, it's a co-living property, you are sharing common areas. So you'll be sharing bathrooms, you'll be sharing kitchen, you'll be sharing a living room if there's a living room, you'll be sharing a dining room if there's a dining room. There's a couple of rules. So for every bathroom, you need 4, or for every 4 bedrooms, you need 1 full bathroom. After 8 bedrooms, it becomes a little bit more complicated because you need 2 fridges, 2 microwaves, a lot more parking. You need to make sure that the house is more appropriate. And there's a lot of different ways that you could do co-living. Starting off, if anybody's heard of Zillow just came out with its new for rent by the room. So if you go to Zillow, I don't know why this looks so small. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. If you go to Home Type, they just came up with their new, you can list a room within Zillow. So if we go in Dallas and we zoom in, you can rent a room over here in Lower Greenville for $825. This property has 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Maybe they were going to get 2-3K. This hopefully boosts up a little bit of their income. There's also roomies. And then what I want to highlight is Padsplit. Now, what is Padsplit? Padsplit's the nation's largest shared housing marketplace. What Padsplit's going to do, this is a core market. So if we're all in Dallas. So Dallas is a core market for Padsplit. What a core market means is that they're going to be advertising here. They're going to be marketing in Dallas. They're going to be looking for your tenants, putting your tenants in your homes, and then they're going to be helping you with the rent collections. Now, what's the problem with today's real estate? You're not getting the ROI you want, right? You see a house that the monthly payments are $2,000 and maybe the market rents are $2,300. You're losing money. You got to put maintenances, vacancies. After that, you need to acquire the property, or you need to acquire your tenants. You need to screen your tenants. You need to replace your tenants, and then you need to do all the management. So what's Padsplit? Look at it as midterm rentals for Airbnb, right? It's a marketplace for the host and the members, and they're venture backed. It's a technology company. Yes.
Is there a minimum stay? I think the reason I ask that is I'm curious if you're paying hotel occupancy taxes.
You don't pay an hotel occupancy taxes, but I'm going to get into the minimum stay for Padsplit. You need at least a 30 minimum stay, but it's on a weekly basis. What that allows flexibility. It allows you to not be renting a room or an apartment for a year. My tenants have stayed with me since I started 8 months ago. I know hosts that have listed for 2 years, and they have tenants or members that have stayed with them for over 2 years. On average, Padsplit's numbers are 8 to 9 months, but it's by a weekly basis. So what Padsplit does is they'll do the marketing. So they will market payment, they have a concern, whatever it is, they have that member management. They do the payment collections. So they're actually going to be collecting all the payment, just like Airbnb, and sending it to you out on a monthly basis. And then they also do onboard consultation.
What's the fee associated with that?
I'll talk to you in a second. They're going through a fee change. So right now they're currently charging 12% plus 2.75 for the processing fee. So just put it as 15%. They're changing the model where it's going to be, they take the first 10 days of the rent and then they're lowering it from a 12% to an 8%.
Of gross rent?
Of the rent, yeah, of gross rent. So who's staying in these rooms? It's anybody in the community, somebody working at Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, right? They're working at the UPS warehouse, FedEx warehouse. I have people that, work at Target, a bunch of different, people in the community. I don't really have to go through kind of what's going on in today's marketplace and why the current working force, there's a wall between the housing market and the current tenants. Rent is expensive. There's lease terms that, you need to have it be at least a year, 14 months. You need to have a minimum credit score, and there's no guarantees once you apply. Padsplit only has one bill for the member. What does that mean? They bill weekly, and that includes your rent, and your rent will include all utilities. So on average, a member will be charged anywhere from $150 to $200 a week, and that includes the rent plus any utilities. They only have one bill, that's it. When you go rent in an apartment, you have to pay your internet, you have to pay your electricity, there's any HOAs, et cetera, et cetera. And there's no long-term commitment, so it really allows that flexibility. Now, the beauty of Padsplit is using underutilized rooms within a home to convert into bedrooms. I get a lot of questions, and there's a lot of questions when looking at floor plans. So let's look at this one where we have one bedroom here, second bedroom up here on the top, third bedroom, fourth bedroom. It looks like there's a dining here, a living room area here, and a kitchen. I didn't put these numbers. Padsplit kind of gave me this presentation, but you get around $1,405 a month with this smaller home. Now, you don't need a living area, and you want a dining area, but why do you want a living area? If you have a couch with a TV, then Johnny from bedroom 1 might invite Mark over, and Mark might be staying in the couch sleeping for free. And then Mark is going to be playing World War II movies at 3 a.m. with full volume screen, and bedroom 4 is going to start getting pissed at him. So might as well turn this living room area into the 6th bedroom. This 4th bedroom, it has 2 windows, so you can split it in half, have it be a little bit of a smaller bedroom. I won't go into the specifications, but they added 2 bedrooms where bedroom 4 is, and then the dining, they added another bedroom. This is how they convert a 4-bedroom home into 7 bedrooms. I generally convert my houses from a 3-2 or a 4-2 into 8-2s, and they're not massive houses. Their houses are anywhere from 1,600 square feet to 2,000 square feet.
So what is the requirement to make it a bedroom? Is it a window and a closet?
You need a window, you need a door, so 2 egress modes. In case there's a fire, you can go out the window or go out through the door. It needs to be at least an 8x10, so at least 80 square feet. Now there's data that shows that if it's 100 square feet, you might only have 2 turnarounds in a year rather than 7 turnarounds. That's a recent data that they did. You just have a smoke alarm, and then you supply a bed frame, a mattress cover, a nightstand lamp, so it comes furnished. You don't have to bring anything in.
So,
Go ahead.
I see an issue with parking. You're
Parking,
You're
go ahead.
going from maybe 1 to 2 cars over here to possibly 8 cars over here.
Parking is extremely underlooked at, and it's a great question. 50% of all the guests will use public transportation. I have a house that has 8 people living in there, and there's only 1 car.
And then the bathrooms, does that ever become an issue with 8 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms?
It can become an issue. Has there been an issue where somebody messaged me saying, "Hey, what the hell, man? This guy's taking an hour-long, let's just say, shower, and what's going on here?" We need more. There's rules, and they try and these are all grown human beings, functional human beings that they know they should take a quick shower, be out of there. There's different schedules. Some people come back at midnight because they work from 6 to 12. There's different schedules around that. I've never had a problem with a 4-1 split. Padsplit done a bunch of research on that 4-bedroom to 1 bathroom. Obviously, more bathrooms for the rooms is better. I have a house in South Dallas. It's 8 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. It's perfect. Somebody just needs to brush their teeth, and somebody's taking a shower. They can use that half bathroom. I don't have to live there. I don't live in my Padsplits.
Expand on you said that data on the bedroom size, like sweet spot.
The sweet spot's 100 square feet. The minimum requirement's an 8x10, so 80 square feet.
and you said the Padsplit furnishes?
You have to furnish it.
Okay.
Padsplit's just the Airbnb. Think of it as Airbnb. Airbnb is not furnishing your rentals.
This is my question. So say if you wanted to sell your Padsplit, you may not use bedrooms. Would that be an issue when you try to sell it?
So no, because when I set up these walls, let's say between 4 and 5, or I make up a wall here, I want to sell my houses down the road in 10 years. Maybe I'm not going to sell as co-living. I can tear down the walls. I'll have to, do a little bit of touch-ups on the floors and then on the ceilings, but these are walls that I can tear down if I wanted to, if this doesn't work out and you want to sell it in a year.
So it'd be smart for someone to have investing for an exit strategy if you need to work with that.
Yeah. I mean, I could, for some reason, Padsplit shuts down and
Yeah.
doesn't, and I don't want to do the management myself. I can take down those walls, put it as a long-term rental or whatever.
So what you're saying is you don't need city permitting for additional.
So if I'm not expanding square footage, generally the permitting for the cities, if you're expanding square footage, if you're working within the plumbing, if you are changing, the electrical panel, there's different things. To really put up a wall with wood and sheetrock, you don't need a permit. Now, if you wanted to get a permit, you can, but I don't. And all my clients that I do renovations for, I ask them, if you want me to get permitting, we can get permitting, we can go through the process, but it's more time and more money.
So I had a question. So say you have a granny too, and the other bathroom is in the master, do you have to build another bathroom for the other residents? Or
That's a great question. I will create a little hallway into let's say the bedroom is right here and the entrance to the room is right here and the bathroom is all the way there.
I just live in a house that I'm thinking about turning into a master. So you walk in, there's the master bedroom, and then in the master, there's a bathroom here, and then there's another bathroom here for the other 2 rooms.
Just create a wall, create a hallway.
Okay.
Follow me on Instagram. I actually talk about how I have a video of exactly how I was able to use the bathroom in the master and use it, have it be for the whole house.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Jose does a great job. I've been really enjoying your stories and your videos.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm new to the gram.
Yeah.
Yes.
As far as like repairs are concerned, say, you say one of the tenants messes up the house, does Padsplit cover any of that? Or is that
Your house is your house, right? Airbnb. If somebody goes and punches a wall in the or a hole in the wall, you are responsible for it. Airbnb is not going to fix it. Now, let's say in a room there's a hole in the wall. What you can do is you can take a photo, you can submit a receipt, and then send it to Padsplit, and the member has to pay. And if they don't pay, they can't book again with Padsplit.
So there's no insurance?
I have lender's insurance. There's a lot of different questions about the insurance, and I'm not the insurance guy. I have somebody that handles my personal insurance. I always say to the members, if you want to get renter's insurance or like your own insurance for your personal things, you can. But these are really people that have 2 suitcases, 3 suitcases, a couple things. They don't. If the house burns down, they don't have jewelry and really expensive, things that they would need insurance for. I have my house insurance in case it burns down or whatever it is.
You got certain locations to be better, whether it's on a bus line or off the bus line?
If it's close to public transportation, it helps a ton. I will always look for the property, and then after I find the property, I see if it's Padsplit, if it's good for Padsplit. Because if I'm only looking at a certain area and I say I want to find a Padsplit in this area, it's going to take me 5 times longer.
So when you do have a problem with your guests or whoever's staying there, what's it look like to resolve that? Are you having to go in and be like a mediator, Padsplit step in, or like how do you handle that?
Yeah, so Padsplit will step in. They have a back end team where they can call and they can say, "Hey, Johnny stole Mark's peanut butter, right? What the hell?" And then they have dedicated people and trained customer service members that they're gonna send an email to Johnny and say, "Hey, please don't steal Mark's peanut butter. These are the rules. This is what you gotta do." I like to stay a little bit more involved. I got 32 doors. I'm still in the stage where I can be involved, and I've seen that they stay a little bit longer. They feel more loved, you could say, when the host is involved. So I will, say the same thing. Hey, if you're stealing food, don't steal food. If I find you stealing food, maybe we need to accommodate you to another property.
So you can choose to be as hands-on or hands-off.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, Padsplit is not a 100% free mailbox money, right? You need to, if there's a room turn, you need to make sure you're doing that. There's a maintenance with the home, you need to make sure you're on top of that. You still need to make sure, what they will do is they will place a tenant and collect the rent. Everything else is kind of on you.
So you were mentioning earlier about repairs. Do they have anything that would be like similar to like Airbnb's air cover in terms of if you send an invoice and the guest doesn't want to pay it, then you can escalate it to maybe Padsplit's version of air cover? Do they have anything like that?
So there's a specific insurance, I don't know what it's called, that you can add that is kind of like a short-term rental insurance. So somebody punched a hole in the wall. Well, then if the member doesn't want to pay it and they're like, screw Padsplit, I'm going to leave and do whatever they want, then you could go through that process. But, if somebody punches a hole in the wall, to me, I can bring one of my guys, put some sheetrock, tape it, mix the texture, put the paint. It's going to cost me $100, and I'd rather go that route than just move on.
You said you had 32 doors. How many homes do you have?
4. I have 8 bedrooms. I have 8 bedrooms in each home, 4 homes, and I manage a 5th one.
Is there more than one gender that does this than the other?
Sorry?
Talking about male and female, are there more than one that does this than the other?
Yeah, no, and I haven't really looked at the stats of if it's more female, male. Padsplit just came out with a recent, it's like a setting where when somebody books for your house, you can then screen them and you can say, yes, I want them, or no, I don't want them. It's like a screening after Padsplit screening, and it's the host screening. So if you wanted a house for only females, then you could only accept females. Now that's gonna limit a little bit more your occupancy, how fast you're gonna fill those rooms. But Padsplit's looking about making homes like only woman, only male, maybe only military, LGBTQ community, maybe by hospitals only, nurses, only pilots. So they'll look into different homes. But right now, it's at least my homes are all co-ed, and I haven't had a problem.
So with the tenants, is there a restriction on the amount of guests they can have, and also with like one tenant per bedroom?
Great question. Only one member, only one guest per bedroom. You are generally not allowed to bring guests because if the member decides to invite his guests and he starts having a barbecue in the backyard, and then they're like, why does he get to invite all his friends and I don't? And everybody's inviting all his friends. Imagine 10 friends, each per one guy, 80 people. It can get out of hand. So generally, there's no guests. But let's say somebody has a kid and they only have a visitation 1 time a week or 2 times a week. If they're going to be in their room, I generally say that's okay. But it's just more for respect of everybody else.
What are some of the major issues that you deal with in the past? After repairs, everybody living there.
I had 1 eviction. I had to deal with it. It's easy because evictions it's on a weekly basis that you're paid. What I tell them is your contract is on a weekly basis, right? If they haven't paid for 3 weeks, I say, hey, you have violated the pay week. You have violated our terms 3 times already. You are now trespassing my home. If you do not pay or you are not gone by Sunday, I will bring the constable and make sure they kick you out because you're trespassing my home. That's not how you're supposed to do it, because you're supposed to do a 3-day notice. After your 3-day notice, you do all your paperwork and then you go to the court. And then my process took about a month. But generally, most people say, okay, we want to leave. And I always remind them, hey, if you're evicted, this is going to be on your record for 7 years. It's going to be really hard for you to go rent somewhere else. It's, there's a lot of problems. But the beauty of this is you're evicting 1 person in 8 bedrooms. Right. You're still making money on 7 other bedrooms.
So that's what obviously when it comes to comps, when you look at the valuation of something like this, the only comparables you would have would be several Padsplits in Airbnb. Someone who's a Padsplit buyer. I don't say that on the exit for long-term necessarily, but in terms of financing, right, how are you going about getting long-term loans to finance that?
So I have 1 conventional loan, and the rest are sub-2 seller finance.
Gotcha. I have a guy for you talking
Okay.
Now is Padsplit like, are you running it so like where you're running background checks and credit on these people or like?
Padsplit, yeah. Padsplit does a member
That's their
screening.
responsibility?
Yep.
And then they just fill it, okay.
Yep. Kind of like Airbnb. Think of Padsplit as being the rent by the room or co-living Airbnb for, short-term rentals.
How do you know the best place to do that?
You look, so Padsplit has a couple different things, or resources where you can go on a map in DFW, go by zip code, click on the zip code, it'll tell you how many homes there are, how long it's taken to get to 80% occupancy, how long it's taken to get to 100% occupancy, how many rooms are filled. So they have a tool within Padsplit. I generally say, when I look at these, the first thing I do is I look at the square footage, bed and bath. Then I look at the location. Is it on a cul-de-sac? Cul-de-sac's a little bit harder because you can't really take advantage of the front parking. I make sure I'll see if there's a 2-car attached car garage because that gives me an opportunity to have 2 cars in the garage or put 2 rooms in the garage. So there's different. I see there's close to public transportation, and if they're not, that's okay. But it's just a separate, and it's just think of it like where would somebody that would want to rent by the room be, right? Is there retail around? Is there maybe anything industrial, anything commercial, warehouses, whatever you think? It's. I'll take 2 more questions because I want to show you guys my real platform, show you guys my real occupancy, show you guys my real numbers, and this will get you excited.
For prospective tenants, are you the one that's opening the door for everyone to see the room?
They don't get to see the room, they get to see a photo.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Because a lot of people that do it on Facebook Marketplace or maybe on like Zillow, let's say, hey, let me show you the room, and then they're wasting time opening up the door, closing it. And generally they're not too picky.
And so just for like the finance thing, when you look at properties, you're looking at it as a long-term rental and then determining if it's a good deal or not. But on the back end, you're saying this is a Padsplit. You're not going.
I now just look at it as a Padsplit. If it can cash flow as a long-term rental, it's just a plus.
Okay, got it.
Up to the last question.
How do you do things like home access control, locks?
I have a smart. I use smart locks connected to Wi-Fi, so it's the same passcode for your front door and your bedroom door. It's connected to Wi-Fi, so here are all my rooms and all my locks, and you can go in there, change the passcode. Somebody says, hey, I can't get into my room, I can open it remotely. Somebody moved out, I changed the passcode from the front door and their door, update it on the platform, stuff like that. I'll keep going. I talked a little bit about the fees, and let's talk a little bit about scalability. And this is not my portfolio. This is a portfolio from Padsplit, but 2 Padsplit at 13 doors. This is back in 2022, but this was the annual income. When you grow to 3 Padsplits, 26 door, this was the annual income for 26 doors. 10 Padsplits, 62 doors, just under $500,000. I still have some time. Sorry?
Is that net or gross?
No, that's gross income. I'll go through this Matterport super quickly because I do want to get to my platform. You can see where the old bedrooms were by looking at the ceiling fans here. So here, over here, this is where the kitchen is at. And then I'm guessing this was maybe like a living room. Then maybe this was a dining room. So maybe this was like the open floor plan. They used to have 2 bedrooms over here, a bathroom, and then 2 bedrooms over here and a bathroom. What they did here is they added 2 rooms right here and then another room here. So I'll walk it through really, really quickly. And it's completely different from what you'll see layout-wise from a traditional home. So, wait. Right? Here's the entrance of the house. You'll see it's almost like a little maze. You feel like it, but it ends up working really well, right? You walk in on the right-hand side, you have a bedroom here, and this is a traditional bedroom for a Padsplit. You have a nightstand, a bed. This is just a It's just staged with the pillows. It doesn't come with pillows. You supply your own pillows, towels, bed sheets, but this is just staged for the photos. And then it has its own closet. Right? We move here. Here's another bedroom. That's 2 bedrooms, bathroom. Then we move out, 3rd bedroom. Very simple rooms. 4th bedroom. This doesn't have a closet, right? So this is where the kitchen was before. So I'm guessing maybe the dining used to be back here, and then there used to be like a little living area. But oh wow, it looks a lot bigger in here. But here is the bedroom. Another bedroom over here. Here's the kitchen. And you'd be surprised, and you're like, wow, 8 people, two chairs. We're gonna eat. I like to be very active on my homes, and I have never, ever, ever seen anyone sit in the common area. Ever. They will actually take the chairs from my tables and put them in their rooms, and my tables don't even have chairs.
You do housekeeping?
What do you mean by housekeeping?
You send a housekeeper in to clean the
So
bathroom?
you don't have to. They're functional adult human beings. They're supposed to be cleaning up after themselves. They're supposed to be washing their dishes and cleaning the bathroom. I send a cleaner once a month just to do a deep clean, and have them be happy, but they're supposed to be cleaning after themselves. And then here we just go towards this other side of the house where you have laundry, another bedroom, the bathroom, or another bedroom and the bathroom. Now I want to go to my platform because
Is this one of your houses?
no, this is not one
Oh,
of
just
them. This is I don't know.
Provide TVs for the residents?
I don't provide a TV. You can if you want to, but I haven't provided it. So when you go in the platform, this is what you see when you come in, right? And I'm going to show you guys real numbers, real occupancies, just transparent what I see on my platform. Here at the top, you have important notifications. So I have 2 people moving in today. Yeah. Let me see where it's a perfect spot where you guys can see. Right, I got 2 people moving in today to Sheffield Court and Mesquite. I had a move out yesterday from room 8 into this house, and I already have a move-in scheduled for it. I have 40 rooms. It's 95% occupied, 1 vacant, 1 move-in scheduled. Here are all my members. Now this is what I've done in just 2 months. So this can show you a little bit of the power of co-living, renting by the room, and what you're able to produce in 2 months. Just January, February.
What's
This
your
year today.
average rent per room?
You can rent anywhere from 160 to 200. It also depends if you have a bathroom. If you have a bathroom, you can rent. I don't know who asked that. Somewhere over
Is
here.
that per night?
It's per week. It's on a weekly basis. Why do they do it per week? A lot of these people are getting paid on a weekly basis. So if they work 25 hours, they're going to be paid their 25 hours. They work 45 hours, they're going to be paid their 45 hours. If it would be monthly, they've done all the studies that they see the money in their account and they spend it. It's time to collect rent at the end of the month. They don't have any more money. On a weekly basis, they get paid. They got to pay their room, and it's a lot quicker to do it.
So Padsplit finds all your things.
Padsplit finds the tenants just like Airbnb, right? You're not going out and giving pamphlets, rent my Airbnb, right? Padsplit will do all the tenant screenings. We'll find the tenants. We'll put the tenants in your room. We'll do the rent collections. Because imagine 8 rooms, right? Times 4 weeks. Going to every single person. Hey, it's time to rent. Rent is due. Rent is due. Rent is due. It can be a lot.
But who determines the rent per room? You determine it?
I determine it. They will give you an option like, hey, this is what we recommend based on the area. You're going to put in if your room is small, medium, large. You have a private bathroom, private entrance, a desk. Do you have a dresser or just a walk-in closet? They'll give you like an estimate, but I determine it. I'll show you guys. So you can go to your metrics. And this is kind of like averages of what people see, right? So Padsplit's average is like a 3.7. My average right now is at a 4.2. And this is just so I can see how maybe the house is doing. But you know, you're very satisfied, you know, flexibility, what you like, other, cleanliness. This girl, too, unsatisfied. Well, she's a massive complainer and complains that the person in front of her always slams the door. So, yeah, she gave me a 2, but oh well. But there's really cool. Let me see, because this is not. Oh, here. But you got some really cool messages. You know, I am so appreciative of my extended family here. Words cannot express the feelings inside. Flexibility, great price. You know, I had somebody that messaged me. What was it? I absolutely love the piece of artwork you put in my room. I stare at it 7 hours a day, and when I wake up and I go to bed, this is the last thing I look at, and it makes me extremely happy. But I bought that for $10 on Amazon. I actually bought another one, sent it to him, and he's given me great reviews ever. You know, forever. Let's go to a really cool part where I can see my properties, and here you can see what's occupied, right? 8 out of 8 occupied, 8 out of 8, 8 out of 8, 7 out of 8. I have one room that's not occupied, 8 out of 8. You can see they're in Dallas, Mesquite, Fort Worth, Mesquite.
So it's 8 connection.
You can go to, and then you can go see the different members of who lives there, as well as like, you know.
Jose, did you pick 8 rooms for a specific reason? Is that just the happiest medium that you found?
I see that a happy medium is 7 to 8 rooms. You could do a 5-2 if one of the rooms has a private bedroom or bath. Or if one of the rooms has a private bathroom, you're able to collect a lot more. Generally, the people that will stay there is a lot longer. Your tenure is a lot better. But right, so this Ashley Wallace. So Padsplit, what Padsplit does is you can have a $300 balance or lower. If your balance is over $300 that you owe, then they give you certain days to pay or you get terminated. So Ashley loves to be right underneath the $300 mark at $299.96. And this will go up to 400 and she'll go to $299.97. So she's always at that price point, right? Cecil, I actually just talked to him. He said he was, you know, I actually reached out to him yesterday and I go, hey, Cecil, your termination date is tomorrow. When will you be able to pay down your balance before Padsplit starts his eviction paperwork? That's false. They don't start their eviction paperwork. You got to scare them a little bit. I'm not going to read this out loud, but you can see his comment, right? I have too much going on. I apologize. I am making certain that 300 at least goes in there next week, right? So this guy always kind of pays late. Now, a beauty of what they pay late is if they pay late per week, it's $25 fee. So if I'm collecting $175 for his room, he always pays late. I'm actually collecting $200 a week per one bedroom. So, and there's a lot of people that pay late. There's a lot of people that get paid on a bi-weekly basis. So they don't pay 1 week and then they pay the week before. So they're always paying late. That's just a $25 fee that you get added on and multiply it by the amount of rooms. Of course.
So what's the process? Let's say someone misses their eviction date. How do you get them out of the house? What is that like?
Well, I've only dealt with one eviction, and I didn't actually evict them out of the house. It was somebody that had a job, lost their job. They showed the proof that they were going to get another job. They felt like they had somewhere to live, and they actually never showed up to their job, so they were just kind of trying to free ride it in there. I gave them like a week to, hey, you got to pay. If you don't pay or you don't show me that, you know, you're working. Not just, you know, you've been approved to work, that you're working. Whatever. Long story short, I started the eviction process. once I had all the eviction process, I won the court, the case, whatever it is, I just showed it to them. For those of you who don't know an eviction process, once you've won, it's not like, oh, here you go, hey, police, come here, here's the paperwork, kick him out. It's like, now you have to set it up with a constable, right? Or I think it's a constable that does it. So, hey, the constable might be ready to go in 3 weeks. So you got to wait another 3 weeks to give them the paperwork, pay them $150, and then they do it. Here, what I did is I stamped that paperwork, you've been evicted, and I put it in their door, I slid it underneath, and I said, hey, you've been evicted. Constable's going to come kick you out. You're now trespassing. I always say this, you're now trespassing. I can press more charges. Here's my eviction date. It's on the 5th. This is now the 8th. You don't leave. Sorry, but And that's not the process. The process that you actually have to go through a constable and they got to kick them out. But it's just you can do a couple of things to try and scare them a little bit. So this was my first home. You can over here see like an overview. I have a little house manual with a couple rules, move-in instructions, move-out instructions. I'll go through my earnings in the overview page. There's one registered vehicle. There's only one vehicle in this 8-bedroom full occupied home. There's a cool little thing you can do with promotions where you can actually do flyers. And if you have a home that's not in a core market area, you can promote it yourself, and Padsplit will still do the member screening, rent collection. They'll do everything. They just won't collect your rents. Or no, they won't place your members. They'll collect your rents, do the member screening, but they won't advertise in that market to put a member or a guest or a tenant in there. And then there's different settings that you can look in for booking approvals, right? If you put that in there, if somebody wants to move in my house and I press turn on booking approvals, they have to go through me first, and then I accept them. I don't have that on because I trust Padsplit to do what they do, and if somebody wants to go in, they can go straight in. Let's look at my real numbers for this house. Here's my income in February. This is what Padsplit took in. This was my monthly earning. This was my income in January. Here's what brought in. Here's my expense. Here's my monthly earning. And I don't know how, but I'm not complaining. This was my income in December. This house made $7,450 in December. Padsplit takes $1,000 for doing their magic. My earning was $6,351. The house next to me, because I know the renters, I say hello, I try to be friendly with all the neighbors. They rent their house for $2,100. They pay their landlord $2.1K. Their landlord, if they own the house free and clear, amazing. But if their mortgage is $1,800 and they're making $300-400 a month, and then the microwave broke, that's $200, and then maybe they have a vacancy down the road, they're not making any money.
What do monthly payments look like on a house like this?
My PIT on this is 2K.
It's what?
2K.
He was okay. I'm on the wrong guy.
So for the members, there's only one rent. They're not going in here and they're not splitting the utilities. They're not splitting it. They pay $170 a week, and that's it. So for my thing, on my end, you pay electricity, internet, water. If you have gas, and everybody asks me like, we just want to know how much you made in this goddamn house. Like I don't just tell me the number, right? Like it varies on month to month. If it's a winter, if it's a summer, AC, it's gonna depend on was there any sort of maintenance that I have to do or not. But on average, you'll make around 3K a house, 2K.
Yeah, about 2 minutes left.
What's your expenses like? Just so people can kind of get an idea of what your expenses are.
I have an underwriting sheet.
Oh yeah.
Electricity, water, internet. If you have gas. Your PITI, obviously.
Landscaping.
So I was going to go then to maintenance. Maintenance, once a month I have a cleaning lady. Once a month I have a yard crew come in and just do the landscaping stuff. And then I always put in like 5% vacancy, 5% capex.
Are you avoiding HOAs all?
I avoid HOAs. The way around it is there's actually Padsplit actually does a master lease on the property for a year. Now they're very flexible. If you want to get out in 6 months, they don't care. But Padsplit will do a master lease. So you just go to your HOA and say, hey, here's my last master lease. I'm renting it to this company, Padsplit, and they're actually members of the master lease. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. What's your renovation cost on a new home?
Yeah, I'm currently doing a renovation in Arlington where it's currently a 3-2. We're making it a 7-2. We're putting up walls, we're putting up insulation, we're changing electrical, we're putting air ducts. If they don't have a ceiling fan, putting in a ceiling fan, doors. We're making a hallway into the bathroom. We're moving a bunch of things, and I'm charging him $15K.
Is there any other startup costs?
Furniture. Amazon. So Amazon driver hates me because I have 100 packages that come in one day, and they tell me we can't. One time they're like, we can't bring it in. You actually have to go into and pick them up yourself. And I was like, I have a Tesla. Like, you want me to do 100 trips? I can't do it because you need. I got a mattress in a box, bed frame, nightstand lamp, my lock, my door lock, things for the kitchen. If there's things for the common area, paintings. You need at least one painting in the bedroom.
Do you only do like single level, or do you?
You can do 2 stories. Last month I did a house in Arlington. It was a 5, 2.5. I converted it into a 10 bedroom, 5 bathroom.
Is there a certain square footage that you need to be looking at?
So what I wanted to show next was my first home, which is, I should have done, which is in South Dallas. Oh no. The sweet spot, you could say, is the larger the better because you'll have more area. So yeah, see, this house is my first home that I bought. It's 1,700 square feet. I have 8 bedrooms. It was originally a 3-2. So I actually want to go through the photos of some before and after of how I did it. I don't think I'm missing anything on the platform. Here you can kind of see just your members, what I charge per week. There is this room that doesn't have its own private bathroom, but it's there's 2 accesses to the bathroom, one through their personal room, one through the hallway, and I charge $220 a week on bedroom number 6 here. Right, and then you can click on a tenant and you can see how old they are, where they work, what they're approved for a monthly or weekly rent.
I'm curious if that connected room with the now is a lock, and you have a lock on that.
You have a smart lock. Yeah. All right, I'll go through this, my first house really quick. So yes, there are bars on the windows. And when I took the photos, I was so excited. I wanted to do it so quickly that I didn't take them off for the photos, but they're completely off. These are original to the home. It wasn't the neighborhood is not bad. It's just, they're original to the home. The owners never took them off. They're off now. But here are the listing photos on the left. So you can see that when you walk in on the left-hand side, there is like a big little second living room area, right? So there's a living room area here, living room area here. There's one window here. When I see an open space in the window, I say, boom, 1 bedroom there. When I see an open space with another sort of set of windows, I say, boom, bedroom there. So right here in the entrance, I added 2 bedrooms. So how does that look? So here on the right-hand side are my listing photos. So how does that look on the listing photo? Let me find it because I don't have them in order. It's just when I got them. But is right up here. So here's the front door, and you can see 2 bedrooms right here. It's a straight wall, goes right where the kitchen is, 2 bedrooms over here in the front. And then here is the kitchen on the left-hand side. And then you have this open area right here, which is like a second living. What I did is I closed it down the middle, and then I closed it, horizontally. I made 2 rooms. This window, I just sheetrocked it, insulated it. They have each 1 window. There's 2 bedrooms right there. So it's a 3-2. I already added 4, right? 2 in the back, 2 in the front, and then there's a 2-car garage. I converted the 2-car garage, 1 bedroom on one side, and then I left car garage on the other side. 8 bedrooms in there. So this is what on the right hand side, what my dining area looks like. Here's the entrance. Right here is that living area over here. This space right here. That's now this area on the right hand side. So there's room 3. You'll be able to see a little bit better over here, right? That's that area. I have a wall and then 2 bedrooms right there.
When did you settle on 8 bedrooms again?
Sorry?
When did you settle on 8 bedrooms as your sweet spot?
Because I put in as many bedrooms as I can without going over 8, because after 8, you need 2 fridges, 2 microwaves, probably 2 stoves, more parking, and it's just too small of a house for more than 8 bedrooms already.
You would need another bathroom too, right?
You would need another bathroom.
Not sure if you said this already, but what's the minimum?
8 by 10, but you really want to have it be around 100 square feet or more.
You do any construction tricks for like noise, like sound?
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
Noise insulation. No, I don't use solid core doors, but I put something right underneath the door so it helps with the sound. Generally, they don't really complain much about the noise unless it's late at night, somebody's cooking, they have speakerphone, they're talking to their mom or their friend, and then they're screaming, and then I'm like, hey, just a reminder, quiet hours are from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. And if you can't be within those quiet hours, maybe we got to move you to another property. I don't have any other things apart from, I could keep going. We could go through silos, show you guys what's a good property, what's not a good property. We can go under the underwriting. What I can help you guys do is if you want to convert your property into a co-living, I can help you guys do that. You want to make sure that, and you don't have to use me, but whoever uses the renovation guys or renovation crew, make sure that they've done co-living. The first guys that are out of Vegas that came into town to do their co-living, they got 3 different construction groups, and they just said, we want to have as many bedrooms in here. It's got to be at least 80 square feet. It needs to have a window, a door, and then, X, Y, and Z. Well, I looked at their plans, and they were actually adding a bedroom with a window, and the window was looking into the hallway except the exterior. And I'm like, you guys are going to do this? Yeah, why? Your window's looking into a hallway. And then we talked to the contractor, he said, you just told me you needed a window and a door. You got a window and a door, right? So that could have been a little bit tricky situation. If you want this to be a little bit of just, mailbox money, I do property management. So I do this guy from Vegas. I ended up doing his renovations. I do his property management. He doesn't hear anything except end of the month. This is what I brought in. Hey, this is, if there's any maintenances, just kind of a quick overview. I am very much open to partnering up. You wholesalers, if you're like, man, this is an amazing deal. I want to keep it myself. It's not going to, cash flow as a long-term rental. Let's, you have it operated. You do the renovations. I found the property. If you guys want to join forces, I'm completely open to partnering or figuring something out in that case. In the first 3, I use my own capital. So I'm looking for private money lenders, private money partners. I can show you my track record of, we'll be able to make some money and it'll cash flow. So there's no reason to worry about that. But I want to take some last 2-3 questions because I know I'm over my time. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Are there any cities where it's like fully banned?
It's not fully banned. What the city will, so one thing is HOA, but you can get around the HOA because there's a master lease. What the city will tell you is it depends on the city, there's only 4 or 5 unrelated people that can live in a home. Now, when I started, I went to Dallas, I went to Mesquite, and I told them this is what I'm doing, and they said we love it. This is what the rules say, but we love what you're doing. We're not going to go in your home and tell you can't do this. And really, the government will incentivize you for certain things. And one of those things is affordable housing. And what I'm sure in the near future, there's going to be, this is starting kind of like Airbnb. Like when Airbnb was starting, I think Padsplit and renting by the room is kind of the new Airbnb where not a lot of people know it. Zillow just implemented in their platform renting by the room. So per the city book codes, there's only like 4 or 5, unrelated people that can live in there. The only reason they told me they could, go in there and say, hey, you can't do it anymore is the neighbors start complaining, the people are rowdy, they're trashing the front yard, and they're parking on the, in the grass towards looking into the home, and it's just looking like a mess. And you want to make sure that, your house is clean and nice, and you're not parking in front of the neighbors, etc.
Any last questions? What is a typical management fee for something like this per month?
Yeah, I charge 8%.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't have time to show us now, but do you have any info on how you underwrite a property for this area is good or not beyond just?
Like I said, I find the house. Once I see the house, I see if it works for Padsplit. And really anywhere in DFW is good. I have a house, South Fort Worth is like far southeast, so on Sycamore and I don't know. And then I have properties all the way in Mesquite. And I just look at the area and I'm like, do I think this is a good property that is going to appreciate over time, that I think people would want to rent a room here, or would want to rent a room, and then do the numbers make sense? And I just use my own knowledge. You guys can actually use Nick Bowers, and I can send you his contact information. He works at Padsplit. He can help you run. Like any underwriting. He can tell you, hey, he can pull up the house on Google Maps and tell you if there's any red flags that he sees or any photos. He is a rep in Padsplit. He's worked for 2 years. For those in sub 2, you probably recognize him from if you've seen the Padsplit Zooms. He actually met with Pace and Atticus, the CEO of Padsplit. They all went together around Phoenix looking at different homes. So he's a really good guy to contact. I want to pull up my contact info here really quick in this super fancy Google Word. So take a photo. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm just starting up, but I'm putting a lot of renovations. I'm going to start talking a lot about the property selection. I'm going to start doing some videos about underwriting. I do house walkthroughs. I walked 3 homes yesterday in Fort Worth alone for Padsplits. So, and if you do sign up for Padsplit, if you want to put me as a referral free, and if not, free. Guys, it's just money that Padsplit will throw out for some like credits.
Let's give it up for Jose. Thank you so much, Jose. That was a ton of value. I've heard and seen a lot of people talking about the leads that they have and how they might be able to turn it into a Padsplit.
And we can do a 1v1 Zoom, or we can do a private Zoom where I can help you underwrite it. We can look at the deal. If you're like, we don't want to operate it, we can see how we can make it work with my property management, and I can tell you how much it would cost approximately to renovate it. So look at your leads, look at your old Airbnbs that are, bleeding you money, and convert them into a Padsplit.
I love it.
And I don't get paid by Padsplit, by the way, but they're great.
Thank you so much, Jose. Let's make sure that we're following Jose and we're giving value back. Jose just spent an hour of his time. If you have leads that you want him to look at, that you want him to buy, or that you guys want to partner up on, let's go to Jose first. Let's make sure that we're not trying to do that whole thing by ourselves. Leverage Jose and his expertise. And again, Jose, we really appreciate you.
Of course.
Guys, let's take a 10-minute bathroom break, freshen her up, and then come back in here at 1 o'clock, and then we'll get started with Caleb Christmas.
All right, y'all. I hope that Jose brought a lot of value. We're going to be going live. Damn, my forehead is shiny. we're gonna be going live every time we do these events. I think every second weekend of the month, we're gonna be going live, going over comps, talking to sellers, raising money, all of that stuff. We're about to create a YouTube channel for Doing DFW Deals. Y'all stay tuned. We're going to have like microphones so that the audio is clear. We're going to have like a setup so that you guys can actually see everything. Right now, just kind of bear with us. We're taking imperfect action, okay? But enjoy the rest of this meetup. We're going to have Caleb Christopher. He's going to be coming up here, dropping a lot of gems. And it's going to be a really good meetup. So if y'all in DFW, y'all need to come out here. We're in Community National Title in Fort Worth. Next month, we'll be in Community National Title in Addison. So, hey. Let's see if we got any comments. No comments.
Hey, that uploads to your YouTube, right? I'm not gonna watch it.
Look, actually, you just gotta use StreamYard.
Yeah.
It's on Instagram,
People don't know.
How are you, Jordan? I saw you come in with a cute little baby. Yes. What? $3. Daughters are the best. Not text me or myself. Come on in, grab a seat.
Can you close that door? All right, everybody, all right. Okay, everybody. Can I get your attention, please? I know, Jose got us excited with the Padsplit. Everybody's brains are melted already, Caleb. I need you to bring us back together. Unmelt the brains. You think you can do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I got it.
All right, everybody. So Jose was our first speaker, and now we have Caleb Christopher here. Please give him your full attention. If you do need to network and talk, no problem, but please exit this room when you do it. We want to make sure that Caleb, you have our full attention. We really appreciate you driving down here and making your time with us. So please, Caleb is going to give us a lot of information, a lot of really, really valuable information. So Caleb, we appreciate having you out here. Really excited to have you. Making sure our camera is just right.
We're working on the camera stuff. Technology always plays games on you. Okay, so if you're new, I got stuff for you. If you're experienced, I got stuff for you. If you're a lender, I got stuff for you. If you're a borrower, I got stuff for you. Okay? Today we're going to cover a little bit of a lot of things, and you're welcome to ask questions along the way. My name is, well, that's my slideshow. My name is Caleb, and I do creative finance. Kind of like Rod, who likes to party, like that. So I run Creative TC. It's on the hat. Right, Creative TC, Transaction Consultants. We do creative finance. We focus on creative finance. We good on the camera?
Almost.
You're doing your jumping jacks? We're getting there. I'll do the Vanna White for now.
Move around.
All right, camera's tracking me. Okay, you hit record, right?
Yep.
All right. Primo. Okay, so I run a team that we assist with contract write-ups. We're not attorneys, we're not CPAs, so we're consultants. Okay, we help you do your deal. So we help with contract write-ups, we help with transaction consulting. So if you need deal structuring advice, I've done the wholesaling, I've been a cold caller, I've been a driving for deals guy, I've borrowed, I've lent, I've refinanced, I've bought, I've sold, I have lead managed, I have closed, I've underwritten, I have done all the seats in there. I've not done PPC. I don't run a wholesale operation. I've sat in all the chairs though. I worked in other people's organizations. I've done my own deals. I'm not focused on doing deals personally. I'm focused on doing your deals. That's my focus right now, is building a business to help you do your deals. So that's what I do. Now, I'll come back to this. I do have a Facebook group. I will be hosting like weekly live Q&As coming up soon. You can join the Facebook group there. I'll put that one up one more time later on. But I drop gems on Instagram and YouTube. So if you want to follow those, feel free, grab a snapshot, hit me up and follow that stuff.
Your QR code didn't work.
All right, I'll fix it later. We'll get it fixed. Just test. They're testing me. Okay, so let's get some of the ground rules out of the way. When I talk, I'm mostly going to talk about things in a situation like an A to B to C transaction, okay? Most wholesale deals, A is the seller, B is the wholesaler, C is your assignee. And you see there at the bottom, wholesaler, assignee. But when we're talking about wraparound deals, we're going to talk about it the same way, okay? I'm going to talk about the first transaction as A to B. Let's get this sold one time, and then the second transaction on a wrap transaction, or if you sell it subsequent, like a fix and flip, A to B is the buy, you flip it, and then B to C is the final sale. And that's my world. I operate in A to B to C. Sometimes there's an A to B, C to D, but we're going to keep it simple like this. That's the basis of all these deals. You have to find A, whether you're direct to agent, get connected with these people, or you're direct to seller, however you find those deals. Oh, somebody told me to tell you guys that I closed the deal last month, and the seller's paying me $200 a month. So that'll happen yeah, that was pretty exciting. It's hard to believe. And I'm not looking for those deals. They come to me sometimes because I'm a transaction consultant. Somebody's like, can you do something with this? And I looked at, and I showed the person, I have an underwriting spreadsheet, and I showed the sellers. I said, look, this does not cash flow it's not an investment. It's not a good investment. And you probably have something better to do within this, but my math says if you pay me $200 a month, which I can never imagine you would do that, but if you paid me $200 a month, I could buy this deal and I'll rent it. And I showed her my credibility and all this other stuff. Turns out 2 days later, she said, yeah, I can't do a short sale. I can't do a foreclosure. I can't have late payments. I'm a financial advisor. I cannot have that stuff on my record. You have great credit. You have you have the credibility. You've got the YouTube channel and all this other stuff that she can look at to verify that I'm who I say I am. And so zero cash to seller. They gave me an insurance check for $6,000 to fix the flooring. It's in Pueblo, Colorado, and they're paying me $200 a month. They've already made their first payment. Their second payment's due yesterday, today. I haven't checked the account. But those deals do happen. But you can't go out hunting, right? It's like every once in a while. But they do happen. And it's because creative deals have a story behind them. So when we understand this structure here, I want you to understand this. Your entry into a deal determines your exit or what available exits you have. We've had plenty of people start deals. And my team, I didn't say this yet, my team runs 50 plus transactions a month already. And I went from 6 people in October to 32 people today. And I'm ready to go 150, 200 transactions a month on creative deals for your deals. So when you get this stuff going, I've seen deals. This is you, this beautiful red sports car, the wholesaler, the deal buyer, whatever you're doing. However, you're the one that's getting stuff under contract or structuring the deal on the front end, okay? Your entry determines your exit because your paperwork and your negotiations are what determine what exit strategies you have. Can you make that tight of a turn to get a really complex deal out the other side? Not if you rush into it. You got to pump those brakes, baby. So, yeah, you can always do a double close. Put anything under contract, do the cash, get it done. If you got the funds or you get a private lender, you're a capital guy. Okay, you get this capital guy in here, you close it, and you have another buyer and you close it twice. That's a double close. You're in, you're out, you're off with your money. Everybody's happy. Not complex at all. Except that you have to know a guy, right? If you don't have that capital. Next is assignment. You see that the curve starts, it's on the other side of the curve. You can do stuff wrong and ruin an assignment. You don't have to write paperwork. You trust somebody and you do, and I see a lot of wholesalers like doing their first deal or not doing too many, and they're allowing 0 EMD. Don't do that, please, because you're allowing somebody else to come in and play with your money and your seller. And if you built a relationship with a seller, and now you've got some joker out here who's got it under contract, you can't reassign it to somebody else until they fail. And if you don't have anything in your contract that requires them to put down earnest money, non-refundable, or else their contract expires, then guess what? They can jerk your chain until closing day, default, good luck chasing them for that cash, and now you've let your seller down too, and you've got a bad reputation in 2 different directions.
Amen.
It's terrible. It's terrible, and people don't think about this stuff. So you do have to pump the brakes before you even do an assignment. It's not that simple. Structuring the deal correctly, making sure people understand what you're doing, that you have the right paperwork in place. And my team does the paperwork. Next, a little further around the curve, you got to be more careful now, huh? If you're going to do a sub 2, taking over their mortgage, you can't just say, oh, I'll take over your payments and just sign the contract. I'll buy for $250,000, 25 cash to seller, and $225 sub to the existing mortgage. Like, that's not enough paperwork, you guys. You can write that on a napkin and it's a valid contract, but it's not enough information to be enforceable for what you intended to do with the transaction. And then next is a wrap. You cannot allow the seller to force you into a balloon payment on their seller finance amount if you're going to wrap to an end buyer owner occupant. You cannot push a balloon on a residential owner occupant. So you better know that you just narrowed your field of buyers to investors only who are going to rent it out and who are willing to take on a balloon payment in the next 3, 5, 7 years, whatever you structure. It doesn't make the deal impossible, but if you know this stuff from the front end, then you can make whatever exit you want, or you're not going to get yourself in hot water, because we're in a relationship business. We build relationships with sellers, with buyers, anybody in the industry, and you've got a reputation to uphold. And so try not to look stupid right here, because you're going to wind up in a ditch over there if you do it wrong. Is this a helpful illustration? Who's the new people? Okay, is this helpful in understanding the criticality of, so working together with people, squatting up, getting connected with people, finding someone you can trust. It's terrible out there where people are just snaking deals, and I hate it. But you got to find somebody you can trust and look at your deal.
How often are balloons even a part of these types of negotiations?
The more you get into creative finance, the more you get sellers complaining that, because, okay, so here's the situation. You had low interest rates for 5 years, and now they're high. And you have this crazy, stupid market, right? You get your stimulus check. Remember that little tiny pocket? That's for your stimulus check. Remember that picture? But everybody got their stimulus check, and they were bored, and they had enough cash to put down a down payment on FHA. And so they bought at low interest FHA, and then the market went stupid, and now they've got this much equity on top of that. And what are you supposed to do about that? So there's a lot of those situations out there, and so they're like, I got all this equity, and you can't afford to cash them out on the front end. They got $60,000 worth of equity, and that's too much for an entry fee. So you're like, okay, I can give you 20K, but you got to seller finance me 40. And they're like, okay, but I want to get paid off in 5 years or less. And that conversation comes up again and again and again.
So it's paying their equity.
Paying off their equity. Yeah, it's not about, now some sellers will say that about their mortgage, right? I don't want you to hold my mortgage forever. Then maybe you don't have a deal. Unless you have an alternate plan. Remember, you can have other plans. You can sell later. You can get into one of these situations as long as you have a good exit strategy. You got good breaks, or the analogy breaks down. But you see what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand the variables on the other end of the transaction, because if we go back, we've got two transactions. You've got the acquisition and the disposition. And the disposition can be hold, right? I can be direct to seller, and I intend to hold every transaction. So my exit strategy is hold as long-term rental, just so we're clear on the terminology here. So let me hit on some hot tips for creative finance, because cash is pretty simple. You get good at comping, you put it under contract, and you either double close it, you assign it, whatever. You can get into trouble assigning, but you know, it is what it is. Different states have their regulations. So with creative finance, I want to challenge. A lot of people are so excited about creative that they think they have a deal, and I'm going to challenge. Do you actually have a deal? And if there's no story, there's no deal. There's no way I'm getting a seller to pay me $200 a month if I don't understand her story and her pain. It's just unacceptable for this lady in Colorado to have bad credit on her record. So I made the offer. I wasn't expecting her to come back and say yes. I should have said more. Because she came back and I was like, I'm busy with projects. I don't really want this, but you need my help, so okay. So I did the deal. But if you just were negotiating numbers, people back up. They fall apart. I see so many of these transactions, and creative deals fall apart over time when you're just about the numbers. You've got to be about the story. Next. You can show me a deal and show me the numbers, and I can tell you it's a creative deal all day long. But that is not a creative deal until the seller says it's a creative deal. If their credit's on the line, you're not in charge of that deal. They have to have the buy-in. And how do we get them to do that? You have to rule out three things, and I'll do a QR code that probably won't work for a YouTube video, okay? And that is, you have to have the seller rule out cash. I don't care if you know cash won't work. I care that the seller knows cash doesn't work. Don't skip it. Do not skip cash offer. Oh, well, I already know that their mortgage is $367,000, and my cash offer, my max allowable offer is $325,000. Okay, so make the offer. They're going to get mad. Okay, seller, I know you're not going to like this, so don't hang up on me. And you get their mutual, what's the Sandler method, right? You need them to agree, upfront contracts. I'm going to give you my number because I'm supposed to do that. You can literally say, this is what I'm supposed to do in the business model. I'm supposed to give you this number, and I'm asking you to tell me now. You're not going to hang up on me, right? Okay, you get the yes, and you say, the max I can give you cash is $325,000. And then you have to call them back. Right? Now, you promised you weren't going to hang up. Give me just a little bit more of your time. The cash offer won't work. That's okay. That's not the only thing I do, but I had to go through that first because that's the easiest way. That's the easiest way for both of us. Now, I care about you getting your house sold. Next, you have to rule out realtor/MLS. my spiel here is cash, realtor, and keeping it. MLS doesn't fit in there, so suck it up. Realtor, you have to rule out the realtor. Now, this is where, as a wholesaler, you need to know some realtors that you can do referrals. Maybe you get, I don't know if it's allowed that you get kickbacks or referral fees or whatever, but you need a good relationship with somebody who's an agent so that when you find a seller who does want to sell, cash doesn't work, that you can point and say, oh, Judy over here is an agent.
Are there any realtors in the room?
There you go. Beautiful.
Active realtors? Raise your hand high. That means business.
Wholesalers need to know realtors that they can turn to for their sellers. So give me some reasons why a seller would not work out with a realtor or the MLS.
Repairs, commission.
It won't pass inspection. It needs too many repairs. Commissions are too high. The timeline is too long. Yep, they have to come out of pocket to sell with the commissions and other expenses. They're an idiot and they're priced too high. That's a very valid reason. But who has to tell me that the realtor route doesn't work? The seller has to tell me that won't work. I don't want to say it for them. So when you're on the phone, you need to practice this. Let them tell you it doesn't work. Make them defend their position. You want them so entrenched in this idea that, no, your cash offer won't work. No, the MLS is not for me. Are you sure? You should have Judy look at it. No, I already know it's not going to work. I hate realtors. The commission, and you can help them understand how much the commission is going to be. I can't afford that sort of commission, all that stuff. I don't want people traipsing through my house, whatever that reason is. Make them double down. And then, oh, you know what? Why don't you keep it? I run properties. I'm okay fixing toilets. Like, you can harp on the bad things, right? But what's my goal here? I want the seller to tell me what? They don't want it. Cash, realtor, and keeping it. Cash won't work. Realtor won't work. I don't want to keep it. Okay, so are you sure you want to sell it? Yeah. Well, what's left? Would you join me? Are you okay being up front? Yeah. Okay. So what happens here is this is a negotiation. We're just going to face each other. And you're my seller. I'm asking you, cash, realtor, keep it. You keep telling me no. And so then I get to do this. I get to come around and say, okay, so now what are our options? Help me understand. And you see how I've switched sides of the table. Now we're working together. Now there's a story. Now we're on the same team. Help me buy your house. And I'm telling you, it's weird. I'm almost emotional right now with that little demo, but it's for real. You get connected with people. So get on the same side of the table as them. Help them rule out cash, realtor, and keeping it, and now you have a creative deal.
Guys, I just want to pause it there, and Caleb obviously is getting emotional talking about that, but when we're doing our negotiations, we act like it's them versus us. Right. It does not need to be that way, especially when you're offering them creative solutions. You need to be able to sit on their side of the table, make them close every door, cash, realtor, or keeping it.
And if they open a door back up, go back to it and say, oh, I thought that wasn't going to work. Right. And you need to make a cash offer you can deliver on it.
Yeah. And I'll say this real quick, and then I'll go back to you, Caleb. Caleb has helped me TC a deal that we tried to do in owner finance.
I hated that deal.
This was during COVID. Her husband was in the hospital. We did not know if he was going to make it. It was way less about us trying to make profit and just trying to see all of her scenarios. Caleb, he was emotional on those calls, so this is real deal. I appreciate it, Caleb.
Yeah. This one works, so primo. I had a point on that. Oh, well.
Same team, all that stuff. QR code, video.
Yeah. Hated your deal. What else? What else we got? Oh, well.
Being on the same side of the table.
Yeah. I don't know what my point was going to be. It happens. Okay, so my next hot tip. Mid-equity deals are not deals. And what do I mean by that? When you see a situation where the mortgage balance is somewhere in the middle of the value of the house, I'll have a better slide for a photo. Then it's probably not a deal. Somebody brought up to me yesterday on a call, I'm talking to a mentorship group, and he says, okay, let me run one by you. I got a purchase price of the seller's good at $597, so just under $600K. The mortgage balance is like $380. I said, stop, not a deal. Didn't let him finish the sentence. Because the mortgage balance is half the value of the property. Why is a mid-equity deal not a deal? Any ideas?
They're gonna want to create a separate note. So
They want a separate note. Well, we can do a hybrid deal, right?
Yeah, but high mortgage.
It's gonna be freaking huge. Don't nobody wants $17 a month.
Easier to sell on market.
Maybe they're just overpriced and they don't actually want to sell. That's always a question. Do you really want to sell? Or are you just an idiot maybe? Like, I get to say this with my arm around your shoulder. Are you really just an idiot maybe? So, because 2 payments kills a lot of deals, cash flow wise. You can't just walk around putting everything under contract. Not everything's a sub 2, okay? So, why? 2 mortgage payments. The first mortgage payment, let's make sure my mouse works. The first mortgage payment, how often does your mortgage payment change? Other than taxes and insurance, it doesn't. You're locked in for 30 years. You don't get a discount on that. So you have to factor that into your underwriting. There you go. And nobody's going to take $67 a month on seller finance. It ain't going to happen. So it's easier. Oh, here's the one you can take a picture of. I'll do my van of white again. You can quote me on that. If the mortgage balance is between 20 and 90% of the purchase price, this is just a rule of thumb, you guys. It's probably not a deal. I don't waste time of day on these anymore. There are deals to be found in here, just like there's deals to be found in FSBO. You can call them all day. You'll find 1 in 1,000. Good for you. That's not for me. Do we have people who call FSBO? Trying to offer us? Yeah, all right. Same thing. That's the reason why, because most likely it's not a deal. So why? How do we fix that? It's easier to pay off the seller's equity on the top end or a low mortgage balance. So I'm going to say this is the seller's equity, right? If it's a FHA or VA loan or something that's got really low equity, it's easier just to cash that out and be done and only have one debt, or to pay off the remaining balance of an old loan and seller finance the rest than it is to keep those open. And you have to keep in mind, if you're underwriting these deals and trying to get rid of it, because putting it under contract does not mean you've done a deal, entry fee tolerance from buyers is 20% or less. You can go higher. There's exceptions. But when I'm looking to do general underwriting, I'm trying to get stuff well under 20% entry fee. That includes holding costs for me, for these holds and STRs and whatnot. What else have I got for myself? Exceptions. So when can you make an exception to that rule, the rule of thumb? High cash flow. Midterm rental, pad split counts, short-term rental. If it's going to be high cash flow, you can make an exception and get into one of these deals, and maybe you can afford 2 notes. But I don't suggest you going into a deal with only one exit strategy in mind. You need 2. One that cash flows and one that at least breaks even. That's a safe bet that you can at least do that. Because what if regulations change and you can't do short-term rental anymore? And you had 6 months to find out, and you bought $30,000 over market just to get the deal done because you could cash flow it as a short-term rental. Well, crap. If the seller will accept no or low payments, that does happen. You can tell a seller, I can afford, remember, it's a story. Let me get on your side of the table, Mr. Seller. I can do this. I can keep your credit in place. I can repair your credit by making payments for you and keeping that mortgage current, because there's multiple ways we help sellers. But I can't afford to pay you anything for 3 years. After that, I will either refinance it or sell it or start making payments to you or whatever that situation is. If you can cash flow for a while, maybe it's a deal. Another exception. Am I okay with the recording? Thank you. I appreciate you. If you have buyers who are okay with a high entry fee in excess of 20 or 25%, you might have that. But you can't just assume they're out there. You need to know. Or if they're good with low, no, or negative cash flow. There are people who need so many losses to offset because they're doing so well in other areas of life that they're willing to buy crap deals that are great 5 years from now. If you've got a sub 5 interest rate, less than 5% interest rate, it's a deal for somebody, right? The reason I did that deal in Colorado was it's a 3.125% mortgage. And it's only a 1.5 years old. I'm like, 5 years from now, Caleb is going to kick Caleb in the face if he doesn't take this deal. So I said, lady, if you pay me $200 a month, I'll take it. And then I can break even for the next couple of years. I'll raise rent, and then I'll continue to break even until later on me is like, thank God you took that deal. You know what I mean? So even if she never pays me, I can lose $200 a month for a year or two, and it's still gonna be a good deal 5 years from now.
Is it because rents are going up? Is it because of the equity you've created? Why is Caleb,
Oh,
5 years
appreciation, yeah.
Appreciation, and just overall everything?
Yeah, I mean, I like the area. Pueblo's not the fanciest, but like, Pueblo's an area that's gonna continue growing. Like, I'm okay with that market. And long-term, I'm okay with that, right? I think the appreciation's there. It's worth at least what I got it under contract for. I'm not afraid of it falling upside down in value. And like, there's another thing, and I want you guys to understand. You can do a crazy deal if you can afford the mistake, to make a mistake. Everybody knows Pace Morby, right? Can anybody afford to make the same mistakes Pace Morby can afford to make? No, so don't do the same things that he does. I run into that every week at my company. People coming in with these crazy ideas, and I'm like, I love your enthusiasm. Can you afford if this goes wrong? What do you mean? What do you mean, what do I mean? Can you afford it? Do you have enough cash in the bank to pay this thing off or sell it at a loss if it blows up? But blah, blah, blah. Insert common story here. I'm like, but can you afford it? Yes or no? Okay. All right. If it's not a long-term hold, you can afford to lose money for 6 months if you're flipping and you're going to make $60,000 profit. I can afford to make a $2,000 monthly payment. Yeah. Okay, so you can take these deals under, and if that's the fastest way to get it done, great. Also, if it's a wrap, which is going to be for my advanced people, we're going to dig into it. And for the new people, I've used basic colors and large numbers. So you can follow along. So if it's a wrap, guess what? That's just high cash flow. You have to be able to find a buyer who's willing to make the monthly payments that make you cash flow at the end of this transaction. Whether it's a hybrid where you've got the seller finance and the mortgage or whatever. Okay. Any questions so far? This is why mid-equity deals are not deals except when this. All right. So let's do a case study on a wrap acquisition side. On the front side, I'm going to buy this thing at $514K. This is based on a real story that came into my company this week. The numbers are extremely close to the same. I'm using 3-digit numbers though instead of 7 with the full decimals. Okay. So of that 514, we have $464,000 first mortgage balance. We have $40,000 in arrears to catch up. We're already talking a pretty high entry fee, right? Somebody run the numbers on the entry fee when I'm done here. $10,000 assignment. That person's pretty proud of their deal. And $5,000 in closing costs, approximate, right? We're rounding. So what's my entry fee on this? 55. Oh, man. How do you go back with a mouse? All right, I'm going to stand on this side for a minute. So my entry is $55,000 if I'm the buyer. Yep, that's good. So more details. If you're taking notes, this is where you can start sketching so you can do some like white paper, whiteboard underwriting with me. So you got $55,000 cash in the deal when you close. That was the A to B. Remember my first slide? That was the A to B. Even though there's A to B to C, it was assigned. Now we're on the B to C side of the transaction. We're trying to find a homestead buyer. That's an owner-occupant. So for your records, the PITI on this thing is $2,767. For a $500,000 purchase.
I'm cheap.
Yeah, all right. So then escrow is $356 a month. That's another word for TI, taxes and insurance, or another word is impounds. And when I'm doing transactions, you get a contract and you take it to escrow. So guess what I call escrow on the mortgage statement? I call it impounds, so that there's no mixing up of terms because details matter, and that's what my team's all about. So escrow on the mortgage statement now, I'm going to call impounds for taxes and insurance, which means how much is the PI, the principal and interest, on the actual mortgage. You guys are really good at mumbling. 2,411. So I need to be able to get a buyer who can bring, because the taxes and insurance are going to change a little bit, and I need to prepare my homestead buyer for a shift. Guess what? In Texas, if you've got a VA loan, primary residence in Texas, what's going to happen to taxes when that title transfers? 3 through the roof. You have to underwrite for that stuff, or you're going to somebody's going to be real mad and or sad, and you're going to be the target of that. So that's just facts to know. 2411 principal and interest that I have to take care of. Now on the disposition side, I'm looking for my homestead buyer. The guy, yes.
What is the discount homestead versus non-homestead on the property taxes?
$100,000
I have to look it up at the county website.
It's $100,000.
Valuation. What's the dollar amount on the mortgage statement?
Somewhere that being about 3 to 4 taxes.
Okay.
We're taxed about 3%.
Okay.
Depending on what city you're in. So we have $100,000 deduction for homestead.
Yeah. Okay.
This came into place.
Yeah.
We were at 30. So if you buy a house and the house is mine from up, and it's $300,000, they're only paying taxes based on $200,000.
Okay, so
You buy it,
for the
now you're
recording,
not taxed.
I'll say this for the recording. An owner occupant of a $300,000 house is getting a deduction of $100,000 on their valuation. They're paying taxes on a $200,000 house.
Right.
Okay. And then non-owner occupant goes up to the full price, but a veteran gets what taxes as an owner occupant? Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you look at that mortgage statement, you better find out, hey, is this a VA loan? Especially in Texas, homeboy. So yes, it can make a pretty big difference. And I work out of Kansas City, I work nationwide, so I got to look it up in the accounting, and I'll just project taxes when I'm actually doing it. Okay, so of the $560,000, this is what the person brought to me. They had an offer for 580 or 570, 580, and I was like, wow. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to be outrageous, so he brought it down a little bit because there's closing costs and the buyer's covering closing costs. So that 560 sale price for the B2C, $70,000 is down payment. Thank God. What a lucky person. He found a buyer with $70,000 mattress money and closing costs to boot. If you're banking on that, you have not done very many deals. Next, we have the mortgage still at $464,000. Okay, and that leaves you $26,000 of equity that you are financing to that person. You're selling to a homestead buyer. I'll sell you this house. Market value, by the way, it's not on my slide. Market value is around $510,000. I'm taking that at face value from the person who gave it to me. Okay, $560,000 sale price. You're bringing me $70,000 down. That means I'm financing you how much? $490,000 is being financed. Happens to be a 6.5% interest rate. That's market rate, right? This is a fair deal. $26,000 of that is my equity. That is over market equity, by the way. So if it goes to foreclosure, who's not getting paid $26,000? Me. Okay, just so you understand that. And there's the existing mortgage, $464,000 remaining. Does this make sense? This diagram, the bar charts.
Hey, can you go more detail about the position of the equity portion?
What do you mean? About like how you're not going to get paid if it goes to foreclosure? Yeah. So this is a first position lien. This would be a second position lien. If you wrap it, it can get more complex as far as positions go, but effectively the first position gets paid first. So if the market value on a property is $510,000, what's it going to auction for if nobody's allowed to walk inside and look at it? Okay, I'll take that, $450,000, less than what's owed. Okay, if $464,000 is owed, that stinks. What if it's sold for $464,000? Great, first mortgage gets paid and nobody else. So if you are a private lender and you're lending on people's deals where they're buying even at market rate, especially over market rate, and something goes wrong and it doesn't get paid and somebody decides to foreclose, that goes to auction. And guess who's not in control anymore and not going to get paid in full? Probably you. That's a major risk. And I see a lot of people asking for capital to close on these deals just so they can sell them downstream and carry that small balance.
So are you saying that ARV on this is 510?
Current value, 510.
As is value right now,
Yeah.
510. What is the market value of it? You go in and you're saying 510
I didn't find
is
out.
all in.
I didn't find out. Yeah, so it should sell for 510 right now. Is what that's what I'm going to take from my client. I'm just going to take that at face value because that 510 is not really what matters to me, except unless you're the lender who's trying to figure out what are the comps so I know how much equity is really in this deal.
The only thing I'm sitting here thinking is it's got to be more than the ARV's gotta be more than 560 if somebody's gonna bring.
Why? If it's a wrap, if you're a penalty box buyer, that's another term for the new people. Penalty box buyers can't get bank financing. Am I offering a service to the community if I offer financing to people who can't get it otherwise? Guess who's unbankable? I can't get a traditional mortgage without jumping through the major hoops because I own a business and work for myself and have worked in that business, that line of work for less than 2 years. My company turns 2 years old in April. I can't go get regular bank financing. I'm a penalty box buyer. And if I'm desperate for a house and I don't have one, I might be willing to pay 8% interest. I might be able to, if I own a business and I've got cash in the bank, I might bring $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to closing because I want a house for my family. You know what I mean? So yeah.
If you're doing a wrap, isn't there a certain percentage you have to be within like the current mortgage rates or not that?
There's usury rates. So the question was, if you're doing a wrap, what interest rate can you charge a buyer? Yeah, there's usury rates, especially if you're going to an owner occupant. If you're going commercial, like to another business, sky's the limit, but check your state laws, right? Usury rates are like, it's where you're usurious if you are exceeding what is a reasonable interest rate for this type of transaction.
Is that usually a few points?
No, points are upfront fees against the total balance being lent. So I see it hover around 10%. Although in Missouri, I read the state code and a plain language understanding, and I'm not an attorney, says that if you have a second position loan, you can put any interest rate you want on it. So, check state laws. Always check your local state laws, local and state laws about that stuff. There are also.
IRS has a good section on that. IRS has a good section on that.
Okay, good. IRS has good content on that. Okay, so are we good on this diagram? Because it gets a little more complex from here. I just need you to follow along on these balances. Okay, here we go. So when you sell this house, can you get cash now? If your buyer brings $70,000 and you have $55K, how much money can you make?
$15K.
Ignoring closing costs and other things like that. You can make buyer down payment minus your entry fee equals, congratulations, you just made $15,000. Wraps are pretty sexy, aren't they? Next, so you made cash now. Let's look at cash flow. Remember, you had your 464 plus your 26. That's a grand total of 490. You're financing at 6.5%. What interest rate was this? 4.25. Yeah. Okay. So how much interest are you earning on this? You've got segment A and segment B. So how much interest are you earning on segment A? Segment A? You're making 6.5% interest on that $26,000 that you financed. Well, how much are you making on segment B? You're making the difference. So you're making 6.5% that you're charging your buyer, but you're having to pay 4.25% on the back end. Does this picture help people understand how the wrap math works? Yes. Okay, good. So this is called arbitrage, interest rate arbitrage. So even if you didn't have any section A, you finance the exact amount, no markup of balance. If you finance the same balance at a higher interest rate, you're arbitraging the interest rate and you can still cash flow. Isn't that nice? Wraps are pretty cool.
Is anyone confused about any of this before he goes any further? I want to make sure everybody understands exactly what's going on because this is really, really important. Wraps right now, people are going crazy over wraps. But I have a lot of experience with helping other investors sell their wraps, and this right here is like, yeah. So I want to make sure that no one's confused right now.
I wish everybody understood them to this level.
Please ask any questions. If you think they're dumb, ask that question. I don't want to look dumb in front of you. Please ask that question. Because we are the ones that's going under contract with these people. This is people's livelihoods. You know what I mean? So there we go.
What is the non-attractive B?
That's up to it's going to come down to like, if I'm arbitraging and making an arbitrage of 8%, but it's a really small loan balance, I'm not making much money. So is it worth doing the deal? That's what it comes down to, is what's my cash on cash return. If I'm throwing money at this deal, how much money is coming back at me? And so the interest rate arbitrage is just one of the factors in calculating how much cash comes back. I wouldn't say that this is the deciding factor on is it a deal or not. Does the payment matter for my buyer? Absolutely. Affordability is absolutely a key issue here. I can't just mark stuff up infinitely and be like, it's a magical deal. No. You have to have a deal that somebody can afford to buy.
You make money on the sale and then you make money on the insurance.
You might make no money on the sale. What if you had somebody who only had 55K down and you had to cover closing costs? Now you're 5K into the deal still, but you're going to cash flow based on these numbers. And we haven't even got to the dollar amount per month yet. So we got the cash now of how much? $15,000. Congratulations. And we've got cash later of, now the principal and interest, you can calculate this on any mortgage calculator. A 30-year note, $490,000 at 6.5% is principal and interest of $3,097. Now, if your buyer can afford a $3,500 a month payment, PITI, you're in pretty good shape, right? You can actually take bids from buyers. How much can you afford per month? And work backwards and build your mortgage to match what they can afford to pay if you have that deal in hand. So their PI, principal and interest, of $3,097 minus your principal and interest of $2,411 equals cash flow of $686. This looks pretty good.
Maybe you mentioned it, but can you go back to why it's 6.5?
That's what the buyer and seller negotiated as a sale. Yep. He said, I'll sell you this house for $560,000. You bring me $70,000. They actually, the buyer insisted on bringing $70,000. So that's cool, I guess. So he said, I'll sell it for $560,000. They brought $70,000. So I'm financing you $490K, 6.5% is market rate. So that's what we're going with. And they didn't argue.
So how do you actually get the 686? Is that something that can already be used as go to a private company that go?
Oh yeah, the payment flow. So in this case, you would probably set up a third-party loan servicing company. And this mortgage here is held with that company. And if you're my buyer, you're going to make one payment to, and the company I use most is 1 Point Lending. Okay. They make a payment to 1 Point Lending. 1 Point Lending then breaks out those two payments, one to the mortgage for the PITI, in fact, including the impounds, and then one payment to me for 686 or whatever's left, basically. Good question. So that looks pretty good. 15K up front plus $686 a month. This is a real deal that came across my table.
And they pay the taxes and insurance, right?
Yeah, whoever owns it pays taxes and insurance. Yep. I mean, you can make whatever arrangement you want, but what you don't want to do is promise a flat monthly payment to a homeowner, because taxes and insurance will change. And it would be prudent and honest of you and a good business person move to actually help them understand what their real bill is going to be after the fact. Have them get insurance quotes. Help them look up what the tax rate will be for them as an owner occupant. Okay. So what could go wrong? Because that looks really attractive to me. Remember, you had $55,000 cash in the deal. Ignore this; it's off by one. It's a nice round number. Okay. So you got this mortgage balance of $465,000. Now these are the things that can eat into your deal. Carrying costs. How fast do you sell this thing? You just bought it. How long does it take you to sell it?
90 days. Months.
How fast can you find somebody with $70,000 in the bank ready to jump on your deal?
6 months.
Okay, good. I like that. 6 months. God forbid you borrow private money to close this deal for 90 days. Because I see that all the time. That means the lender's inexperienced. That means the buyer's inexperienced. So 1 month into the deal, you got all this, it's hunky-dory. The second month, guess what? How much was that mortgage payment?
$2,700.
27 and change, and there's other ancillary costs you got to pay in the meantime. So I'm going to round up to $3,000. So you're up to 58K out of pocket. The mortgage balance did what? It went down by $3,000. No, yeah, it went down by a few hundred, maybe 1,000. I'm being generous. I'm rounding up to 1,000. Okay, month 3, great. You're down to 463, and you're up to 61K. This is eating into your $15,000 real fast, isn't it? Not as sexy anymore. Oh, month 4. Gotta be kidding me. Where's my buyer? Start getting desperate, start getting ready to do stupid stuff. Month 5, you're getting close to $70,000 in the deal. Guess who? You don't even, and at this point, you don't know you have somebody who's willing to bring $70,000, by the way. You're freaking out. You're pulling your hair out. You're calling me every week. How do I find a buyer? What else can I do with this deal? And 6 months in, hopefully you sell it, and guess what? Zero cash today, but it's still a sweet deal, cash flow. I'm not going to burst that bubble, but I did want to dash your hopes on the rocks with this one. Don't get in over your head. Don't romanticize the idea of like finding somebody with $90,000 in their pocket. Don't romanticize that. Be realistic. This stuff happens. People can't bring that big of a down payment. What if you were like debating in this last 3 months and somebody's got $40,000? Is it a deal for you anymore? Maybe. But can you afford to make that mistake? That's the question. Can you afford to leave that cash trapped in the deal? You shouldn't be doing deals that you can't afford to make mistakes in. And that's the trouble. Everybody wants to do these deals. And yeah, they can cash flow really good, but there's this age-old thing. It takes money to make money. You got to have money to make money. It sucks. So you need to find partners who have money and then split the deal. Is probably what you need to do if you're new. Okay? Any questions on this concept? Because I see this happen a lot. And I see people, I see you. I told him to speak up.
Yes.
Thank you. Well said.
I had a story, or I had a situation similar to this. It wasn't a wrap, it was a hole. But my initial underwriting did not contemplate finding a tenant for 6 months. They contemplated holding costs, if you will, for about 90 days. So as opposed to 20K in the deal, it was around 30 to 35K. But to Caleb's point, I did have reserves. I think it's important if you're going to go this route, you need a budget, you need to project reserves of some amount. Luckily, I did that, so I didn't have to keep it, reach into my personal pocket. I already had reserves to allocate towards the deal. But to echo Caleb's point, whenever you're doing these deals, guys, it's not as clear cut as people make it seem. So it's very important to have these carrying costs set aside, these reserves set aside, in the event that it may take a while for you to find an individual to buy this house with such a high.
Well said.
No, the Houston deal Jazz referring to, that was one of those cookie cutter, clean, easy deals that Caleb and his team TC for me. It was very, initially it was like maybe 5K. It was actually 10K, I'm sorry, because I was dealing with realtors or whatever. But my wrap buyer didn't have the full amount to come to closing with, so I was actually 2K in the deal, but the deal cash flowed so well that I didn't care.
Yeah. See, because with that 686, you're going to catch up. If you had to leave 15K trapped in the deal, you'll catch up soon enough.
Exactly. Right.
It's not a bad deal 2 years from now.
Yeah.
I didn't know Caleb was.
And for the wrap, that's those 70, okay, that is cash that the buyer is paying. That's not their financing it.
No, yeah. I don't want a buyer coming in with financing for their down payment.
So they need 70,000
cash. Yeah. And so if you're selling that and you have somebody who's willing to go under contract, you as the seller, the middleman, who doesn't want to get trapped in a 30-day contract waiting for it to expire, you need to put a provision in there that they have to sell to provide you satisfactory proof of funds within 5 days of contract signature or the contract expires. Otherwise, you're stuck in that until the full contract period has expired. But it needs to be up to your discretion as the middleman seller. You have to provide satisfactory proof of funds to me that you actually have the cash in the bank, and don't accept a screenshot that somebody photoshopped. All that stuff drives me insane.
Caleb, can you talk about the importance of when you go to underwrite a wrap deal? Can you talk about closing on it first and then selling the wrap on the back end, or waiting to find a wrap buyer to actually close the transaction? So that's
if you have a relationship with your seller and you're direct to seller, or you talk to a wholesaler and get permission to go direct to the seller, and you can build this relationship and get permission to shop for a buyer while they hold it, you can reduce closing costs by not having to close twice, and you can find a wrap buyer. So some people like to get it under contract for 45 days, and they try to find a wrap buyer real quick and try to close directly to their wrap buyer. That's one way to do it. But especially if you actually get permission from the seller and let them understand, hey, I'll cover your mortgage payment or whatever your arrangement is. I'll cover half your mortgage payment for the next 60 days while I find a buyer. And if I can't find it, I'll drop out. Sorry about it. Right? You can build that relationship and build those terms, but you need that upfront agreement. You should not be dragging real people along by strings because you're trying to do a deal and prove to yourself that you can do deals. It drives me insane because it's real people on both sides of a transaction. It's not just business. It's somebody's house. They live in it, unless it's vacant. There's a little bit different story there. But if people have to arrange for a new house, new living arrangements, packing, all this other stuff, don't be a douchebag. Bottom line. Think about it.
Any other questions, guys? It's not often
I
you
think
get
that's the
Caleb.
one that doesn't work. It's a Facebook group, Creative Transaction Consultants. I'll send, you got an email going out to everybody? We'll fix the link.
Yeah.
Yeah. That link, that QR code didn't work.
Okay, let's say I get a deal tomorrow and I need somebody to do my TC for me. And I want to use Caleb Christopher's company.
CreativeTC.io. You can book a free chat on the website. We got free 15-minute chats, I think 7 days a week. My homeboy Marcelo, it has been a fantastic sales and development guy, and he's made himself available almost every single day of the week, 15-minute calls anytime you want. We'll onboard your deal. We'll gut check and make sure, is this really a deal? Because look, we take a deposit up front, but we don't get paid in full unless the deal closes. So I don't want to take your deal if you got crap, right? I want to work good deals. I want to help you work good deals. I want you to close stuff. And so I would put my team on the same level as a JV partner, but we charge a flat fee instead of taking a chunk of your deal. Right? We're going to bring that level. If you do a deal with Creative TC and you don't learn more about how to do deals better so that your next deal is better and the deal after that's better than that because you understand that race car scenario and you're getting better at pumping the brakes on the front end so you don't go sliding off the track and losing deals halfway through escrow, that's a good thing. That should be happening as a natural consequence of working with my company.
Caleb, what if I'm so busy doing deals that I don't want to walk a seller through a contract? Could you help me with that?
Yes, so we have contract consults. I just actually, it's worth saying, I dismissed an attorney. I hired an attorney to work on my team. I dismissed him because I was uncomfortable with their ability to elicit requirements and explain to people the implications of the contract if they're injured. That person's gone. We do contract write-up assistance. We're a consulting team, so I can't draft stuff for you, okay? I suggest content. I have templates that I maintain. I fill in the blanks. I suggest content, and I say, here you go. If you want to use this, go ahead and sign it. But you should take it to an attorney. Okay, that's my business model. So I have contract write-up assistance. We can get on the phone with sellers, agents, your mom, their cousin. We have a contract write-up service. You need the verbal agreement with your seller. You need to know that stuff. Now, if you don't know how to get that level, you can book a consult. We do have paid consults if you want to sit with somebody and say, I think this is a deal, help me work it out. You do that one time, you'll get coached through how to do this. Stuff like I just did, you'll get coached through that so you know how to determine, is this a deal for every other deal after that?
So maybe this is for those that haven't done a deal, like why would you need a TC for a sub-2 deal? Wouldn't the title be handling X, Y, and Z situations?
No, and all respect to title company people here. I love you. But people are crazy. Deals fall apart. You saw how easy deals fall apart. And if they haven't done perfect paperwork on the front side, you've got confused sellers, angry assignees, all sorts of stuff going on, transaction coordinators. And coordination, by the way, since we're using bar charts in my diagrams, transaction coordination is like this little piece for my company. The consulting is the main part, right? We want to make sure everybody understands the deal and does it right. I've got attorneys. One of my clients went to an attorney. They're like, fine, I'm going to go to an attorney, just get this deal done. That attorney cranked out paperwork with my copyright on the bottom. They're using my templates. She's like, oh my gosh. So I'm telling you guys, we're using good paperwork, but a TC, in this case, we do help that deal get to the finish line because they naturally fall apart. Do you want to be in bed with somebody who doesn't want to do the deal anymore? Are you going to be able to force a seller to leave their mortgage on the line when all they got to do is call the bank and say, hey, I sold my house. You can call that due on sale any day, right? Do you want your financial success to depend on somebody who doesn't like you anymore? You need to do a deal with someone who understands the deal, who's in it with you for the long term.
You work in all 50 states? Or?
Not New York and not New Jersey, but yes.
Those are the other 2 states where
So you're telling me as a TC, you're not going to fill out all my contracts, you're not going to do any of my work, and what's the reason why?
I will. So I poop on all that stuff because I do that stuff. A lot of people are being trained not as transaction coordinators, not to do. In traditional real estate, if you're an agent, your TC should not be filling out contracts and doing all this other stuff. As a consultant, I'm going to put together suggested content and give it to you for you to use. And you're going to sign a big fat disclosure that acknowledges I'm not an attorney and that you're making your own decisions and that you've been advised to contact an attorney.
Guys, I just want to harp on the importance of having somebody like Caleb on your team. I've done a fair share of creative deals, and I've always used Caleb in this company. I can't speak enough about the professionalism, the transparency, and I think one of the value add propositions that Caleb company has is the communication with your sellers, right? Because it's a relationship business, we understand that, but as you talk to your seller about this type of transaction that they've never heard of, once they are agreeable to you, then the Caleb's team comes in and talks to them, it's like a reinforcement.
Yeah.
It just makes the transition.
I've had people close deals because they went to my website. They didn't even use my company. And I'm okay with that, right? They talked to a seller and an agent and said that they proposed a creative finance deal. And they're like, that's not real, that's not even a thing. They went through the whole debate and they're like, look, this guy over here does it. Now, I would appreciate it if you say, this is the company I'm going to use. Okay, but go to creativetc.io. Look, the fact that I've got articles, resources, I've got a YouTube channel full of content, and I'm advocating that things get done the right way. So you get credibility because I have credibility. So help build me up. Give me reviews on my Google. Look me up on Google Business or on Google Maps. Look up Creative TC and drop a review. That would help me a lot, and it helps other people, agents, buyers, sellers, because we can look at 120 plus reviews right now as of today, 5-star reviews saying they know what they're doing, they understand the stuff. I didn't realize how much there was at stake. As an agent, I love the ones that start with as an attorney or as an agent, this was valuable because. So if any of you can drop one of those for me, super appreciate it.
Guys, let's do that right now. What did you say? Google Map, Creative TC?
On Google Maps, if you hit up Creative TC.
Creative TC LLC?
Yep. This is one of my South African employees, Ilza Lover. She's the one that answers phones if you call in our main number. But we've got reviews, 122 reviews. If everybody drops a review right now, they'd be like, push me up to 150, and then Google's going to be like, to 30 of them just because so many hit one time. But oh well. I have one 1-star review, so that was fun.
I think this might be helpful when people are underwriting, and it's something you talked about during your presentation. If I buy a property subject to from there's a PA loan,
yeah,
and it tells me the PITI is 2,500. So when the title or title transfers, then on the back end of whatever the taxes you're looking at, they're like, oh, this guy is not a veteran, meaning your taxes are just going to shoot up
through the roof.
So it doesn't matter if you're still on the mortgage. It all matters on the title.
Yep.
And
now, Texas, I love you guys, but Texas has the harder rules for lease option and contract for deed. In any other state, somebody who's doing a sub-2 or a wrap of a VA loan, I will question that every day of the week. Why aren't you doing a contract for deed? Because the Veterans Affairs financing pamphlet, I've got it. You guys can request. Hit me up on my website, right? TC email support, and I'll send you the little article, the snippet. But the VA guidelines indicate that it's not a disposition. It's not considered a disposition for the purpose of accelerating a loan if it's sold on a contract for deed, because the deed does not transfer until you finish paying that off. So in any state but Texas, if you have a VA loan, why would you ever do anything other than a contract for deed? Because they can't call due on sale. And I say can't because I'm not an attorney. Why wouldn't you? Some people don't, they're like, oh, I don't get the deed. Okay, but you don't have the risk of due on sale. Risk reward. What is it? Let me put my arm around you and ask if you're an idiot. You know? Are we, you can use bless your heart. Are we being an idiot, bless your heart? Yeah.
Last question.
So what are you suggesting in Texas?
You don't have that option. It's not illegal to do a contract for deed. You can, but the hoops, and it's treble damages if you make a mistake and don't do it. Yeah, up to 6 months at a time. So if you can manually renew it every 6 months, good for you, but that's not a great plan. You got to do the wrap. You got to do, and I'll say you can do a naked sub-to, which is where you just say, oh, I'll just take over your payments, and you don't do anything more official than that. Maybe you've got some closing documents that legally bind you to making their payments on their behalf, but they can't foreclose. So a wrap is a safer, better option, and it gives the seller the right to foreclose. Man, I can go in depth. I ran for 3 hours talking, but I'm gonna have to stop. So you got to do the wrap in Texas, even on a VA loan.
Guys, let's give it up for Caleb. Caleb, really, really appreciate you. You did not have to come out here. Thank you so much for
giving us the Jimmy John's.
I love it. Guys, make sure you follow Caleb and Jose. Make sure you give Caleb a Google review, please. We're going to do a couple of things. Zach Hatley from Community National Title is going to come speak for a moment. After that, I'm asking you to please clean up after yourself. Please stack these chairs, and then we're going to get on this wall for a group photo. But first, let's have Zach come up.
Let's go, Zach.
I just want to introduce myself. Welcome to my house. This is Community National Title. And they were talking about, if you are doing those creative deals, I'm actually an escrow officer that knows what those creative deals are and how they operate. And not to mention that I've worked with a handful of people in this room. And with that being said, I probably work way too much. Everyone has my cell phone number. They get 24/7 access to me. I'm here on a Saturday working as well, trying to clean up good stuff in my office. But I go through the nitty-gritty on some challenging files. And so if you have not had an opportunity to work with me, I ask that you try me out. Honestly, there's nothing to lose for that because I work with the people that are hosting this meeting. And so if they're working with me, that's at least say something.
All three of us have closed deals with Zach.
So,
Yes, yeah, man.
Yeah, Zach just facilitated a closing today for one of my sellers.
Also, one of mine. We had a crazy deal, and Zach got it done within like 2 to 3 hours of work. It was death certificates, there was divorce decrees, there were like 3 different marriages. Both families got married twice and 3 times, but he got it done within like 3 hours. We still were able to close the deal.
And educated the clients as well of why we do what we do. So I'm not going to rush through my work just to get the deal done. I'm going to do it as fast as possible, but never compromise the quality of my work. And I think that's important because that's my reputation on the line, and that's y'all's reputation on the line as well. And so with that being said, I mean, you keep the integrity of your work, you're going to have people coming back to you and people that are going to continue to want to work with you. So
We say it all the time. Title companies are so important. They're front facing to your clients, our sellers, and our buyers. So, yeah, Zach, you do really good work.
And I will tell you, my sub-2 docs are pretty damn good. And I can explain them back and forth. Am I an attorney? No. Have I worked for Plinsky, Bottle Green in Dallas? Have I worked for a law firm, mortgage law firm? Absolutely. But I will tell you, I have some pretty good documents that are pretty protective for you guys and then also for myself as a title.
Zach, on average, how quickly for DFW are you getting back title?
Title work?
Yeah.
We can get it back pretty fast. How I can clear dead people pretty fast, sometimes it's challenging, but I work through the nights. And that's the whole thing is sometimes, I will tell you this one part. Just know, like if you're going to give me a 20-day contract or a 15-day contract, if I have 2 dead people on there, 4 divorces, liens, loyalty liens, all that, I'm probably going to have to work through the night, but we're going to get there. But just know we'll get to that closing date, but I might be dead ass tired by the time we get to that closing date. So,
thank you, Zach.
Yeah, definitely.
And real quick, but Cedric asked me who the buyers were in here.
What the buyers at?
Who's buying? We got the Wyvans. Raise your hands, nice and tall.
How good am I getting contract?
Yeah, he gets 3 a week. 3 a week. So make sure you meet Cedric. He does a lot of acquisitions. If you're a buyer, he can feed you deals all day long. Guys, let's please clean up. Move these chairs this way. We're going to get on this wall and take a group photo.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed today's live. We're going to be doing this every first Saturday of the month, and we're also going to be hosting live Zooms where we're underwriting deals, talking to sellers, raising money, talking to private money lenders. We're going to be doing everything. We're going to have a YouTube channel specifically for doing DFW deals. We just use mine for today just because like we just literally started this. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a good one. We're about to end this thing. Y'all have a good weekend.
This is pretty interesting.